Hi and welcome, it's Chloe here, and I just wanted to share with you a little bit about this upcoming solar eclipse. In fact, we've got two eclipses. We've got a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse coming up, but the first one is the solar eclipse, and that is on the 19th or the 20th of this month, April, depending where you are in the world. Now, this is a super highly charged, intense eclipse. Okay, so I think this is like one of the 3% kind of rarest of eclipses, and it's the second most powerful eclipse as far as I'm aware of the decade. So there is a lot going on, and I just want to share kind of a very high overview for you, so that you kind of get the heads up, you can understand some of the energies at play and how that's impacting you right now. Because although the eclipse is on the 19th/20th, we are already in this eclipse wobble, which means you will already be feeling the potent frequencies that are coming through from this eclipse. So any eclipse, especially a solar eclipse, is all around new beginnings. It's permanent changes. Whatever happens during this eclipse season, as it were, will be permanent changes. Eclipses are like destiny accelerators. They really fast track us more onto our destiny path, becoming more of who we are. And it brings up to light anything that we need to look at, resolved, shift identity around, get more clarity around, see a bigger picture. Whatever's going on within you, within your world, especially also around your astrological blueprint, because it will be impacting you in different ways. But there are definitely core themes, and some of these core themes I want to share with you. The way I work is I kind of blend in the astrology, I blend in my own, what comes through from me, my own divination, what I get told, the processes that I go through every day to understand what's going on globally. And also I use oracle cards as well. So I kind of weave, I'm like a weaver. I weave everything together to get that kind of imprint, to understand what's going on, and also support you, if you so wish, in navigating everything, navigating these energies, navigating this transition from you going from, like, say 3D to 5D to 7D, wherever you are on your path. So this is a very dynamic, eclipses are dynamic, right? Anyway, but this is a whole nother level. So it's bringing in a huge amount of change, lots and lots of change, lots of opportunity, which is amazing. But often with the change brings about endings as well. So we're going to see that quite a lot on a global level in terms of the endings of, again, we're going to see more old 3D old structures collapsing. And that's how it's meant to be. And I feel that if we get triggered in that process, it's trying to go within as much as possible with that, claim those feelings, own those feelings for yourself, so that you can transmute them within yourself, because that's where you're going to find the golden nuggets. That's where you're going to find the liberation. That's where you're going to find your sovereignty. That's where you're going to accelerate your ascension process, is through connecting to those emotions. There is a lot of emotions playing out in, over the next definitely 4 weeks. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a moment. But also I want to say about this eclipse is that normally eclipses last for the effects of them for 6 months. This is much longer. This is going to take us pretty much through 2024 as well, because of the astrological events that are going around that. So it's like we're going to keep on revisiting everything that's kind of playing out right now energetically, and anything that's playing out on the 3D, we're going to keep, these themes are going to keep coming up all the way through the rest of this year and throughout 2024. So it's really, really, it's a big shift. It's a big change. There's a lot of possibility for timeline jumping in that. But you can only really timeline jump and go on to a whole new timeline as long as you're also clearing the other aspects of that. So you can't really go quantum unless you're really working at also clearing emotionally and mentally and physically as well. It's like you have to take your whole being when you quantum jump, right? You can't just go, oh, I'm going to just work in the ethers, I'm just going to work spiritually, and that means I've done. No, it's got to be able to filter down through the whole of your beingness, which means all those levels as well. Now, what my sense is with everything, looking astrologically, and also what's come up with the cards and what's coming up in my life, is that we have Mars in Cancer with, and it's connecting in with Chiron in Aries. Now this is a big aspect that's going to come up for the next couple of weeks, including like the first week or so in May. This is really important, and I think this is going to be a key part of this whole eclipse in terms of how we navigate that. So there is going to be, and again it came up in the cards as well, inner child wounding that is going to come up to present itself to be healed. The inner child wounding is going to be related to Chiron in Aries. It's all around your core sense of self. It's around love, acknowledgement and acceptance. And it's where, as a child, we didn't receive that in the way that we needed to get that. And so therefore, there's a blockage around that in some way in our emotional body. And what these energies are supporting us to do is to allow that blockage to come up so that we can see it. Now look, once you can see it, because of this Aries energy, because the solar eclipse is in Aries as well, so there's a lot of, it's very quick. With Aries, it's very quick. If you get it, you have the awareness and you can just follow through with it. So what's so amazing is that first you've got to acknowledge it and see it for yourself. There's going to be triggers for a lot of us, whether it's internal triggers or external triggers. And what we need to do with those is not project out. It's like when we get those triggers, just go within and just ask yourself, is this actually coming from my inner child? And if you can connect to those feelings and really follow through with them and feel them and then just ride them, as it were, you'll come out the other end having transmuted, having cleared, having transitioned them. Once you do that, you will get a different perception will come through. You'll see things in a different way. And it's from you seeing things in a different way that will then enable you to have and birth a whole new sense of self, right? Because this solar eclipse is in Aries, it really is all about the I am, your core sense of self. And I've spoken about this before over the last couple of months, that some of you already are feeling like there's this new coming in, you're not quite sure what it is. And by doing more of this inner child clearing is going to support you to get hold more of what it is you're trying to birth, this new sense of identity. You see, the thing is with your I am is that you get to choose, you get to choose that core sense of self. It's, what you're born with and what you choose to take on board as identities can change throughout your life and throughout lifetimes. And the reality you build, the holograms that you crystallize within your own energetic blueprint, are very much based on that core sense of self, which is your identity. Who do you identify yourself to be? And a lot of that sense of I am comes from the very, very beginning stages of within this lifetime, within your childhood. So this is why it's really important, and this is why we've got this Mars in Cancer, thank goodness, supporting us to delve deep into that, and see what it is that we are now willing to let go of, what belief systems, perceptions, what parts of our identity are we now willing to let go of. Now, of course, you can feel very vulnerable in that. It can feel very unstable, because if you're letting parts of the very core sense of who you believe yourself to be, it's like, well, where's this going? It's like you're then like in this no man's land, and that can be, that can be challenging. But what's going to happen with this solar eclipse is that there's going to be two simultaneously. As you let go, the new can then solidify more within you through that. So it's really, I feel, about acknowledging and owning who you've been, and acknowledging and owning who you are now letting go of. But you've got to first of all be able to see that. So again, I feel that this inner child wounding is going to come up to enable you to get more clarity around that, so that you can say, you know what, this is what I felt as a child, and this is the perceptions that I built around the world and how it was, but this is no longer who I choose to be, right? That part of that separation that I bought into because of whatever happened and whatever play out is not actually the reality of who I truly am. And it's interesting actually, because a lot of galactic energy coming in, which I'm going to move on to just in a moment. So it's really acknowledging and identifying where you've been, who you were, and who you no longer choose to be, so that you can then start to claim ownership of the new you that is birthing. And this is what this whole solar eclipse is about, because it's in Aries, and it's also the last degrees of Aries as well, so the final parts of Aries. So it's very, very strong in that, all linking back to, I feel that looking at those inner child and emotions, a lot about the emotions. So some of you may be feeling, quite a lot of emotional intensity around all of that. And just know that you could be feeling quite hypersensitive, and it's just important not to, when you do get triggered, not to project out. Because if you project it out and blame it on X, Y, Z, this situation, this person, you're not owning it for yourself. You're not owning those feelings for yourself, which means you're not claiming those emotions to run through you so that you can transmute them, right? Because every time you say it's that person over there, it's this situation, you're not moving those emotions through you, which is going to keep you stuck, right? It's going to keep you stuck. So let me talk about this core sense of self and to do with origins. It's really fascinating. So I, was it last week? Last week, I'm losing track of all time. Last week, I downloaded my next temple journey, the Temple of Edfu, in my gridding tour. It should be up in the next day or so. My team's just kind of getting it up there. And the Temple of Edfu is fascinating. So when I tuned in and worked with the Temple of Edfu, it was all around the origins of this kind of what you would call present life cycle. There's all these inscriptions on the Temple of Edfu, and it's like a holographic living Akashic record, and it takes you back to Septepi, which the ancient Egyptians call like the first origins. But that first origins is actually the origins of that lifetime, or that life cycle, should I say. Before that would be Atlantis. And so it comes back down to, again, owning your origins, knowing who you truly are. So we have that inner child, right, of this lifetime, but actually goes way, way back. And currently, present history is kind of masking and not revealing our true origins, basically. And I know a lot of you understand that. Some of you may not, but I know a lot of you understand that. And I feel that for us to really own our galactic origins, we have to kind of understand and appreciate the history of this planet and what really went on within all of that. And the Temple of Edfu really supports that, because it's like the you know, the holodeck. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Star Wars, Star Trek, but it's like the holodeck. And so going into the Temple of Edfu with holographic consciousness enables you to open up and read the records, read the Akashic records, and be able to connect more back with your own origins and have an ownership around that, right? Because I don't feel that we can really claim our divinity and embody our divinity until we at least acknowledge what's really gone on in this planet and our history, or her history, and go way back, way back than conventional history teaches us. So that is really important, because there's a lot to me around galactic cosmic energy coming through, being able to have more of that visionary pioneer energy coming through, our own uniqueness and encoding of our galactic DNA and expression of our uniqueness through that as we connect to all of that, and the gifts and the talents that are available to us as we reconnect in that way. And I feel just even acknowledging our divinity codes through acknowledging our actual history and connecting more to that, and then being able to energetically download that. It's all part, it's a big process. It's a huge process. And so there's all of that, first to having the awareness, then connecting to it energetically. And then as you connect to your gifts and talents, then owning it and owning your uniqueness and owning that out in the world. Huge. And so I feel a lot of that is going to be initiated through this solar eclipse. So really big, really big energy through that. And a lot of those divinity codes and that whole process, I actually work with my Ascension Vortex container, which is a 1-year container, and it's I'm opening up again in May, but I'll put the details down below for you if anyone's interested in that. In the meantime, I will be doing a new moon solar eclipse live transmission. I'm actually here in Cyprus. I'm overlooking the sea right now. It's beautiful. It's an amazing grid here, connects to a lot of ancient sacred teachings from the whole Mediterranean, Egyptian grid lines, which is really powerful. And I will be doing a live transference healing from this grid point on the 20th, Cyprus time at 7:30. And that is free for my temple members who are on the Activate plan. So if you want to join me live for that, these are the energies that I'll be working with in support of that. So I'm really excited for that, really excited, because there's so much coming through with that. And I've actually been working with my 21-day challenge with everybody all around the flow, because none of this is going to come through unless you have that flow. You're going to need that emotional flow that I talked about right at the beginning to support you in that, to be able to bring in what you need to bring in. And it really does all begin with that flow state. So I will put the details below if you want to join for that. Don't worry if you can't join live. It is all recorded. I will also channel through an activation. I don't know what that is yet. If I get to know before, I will let you guys know. But know that the healing, the upgrade, I like to call it more of an upgrade because it's really a light code upgrade, but it's also a clearing and a purification. So it's a decoding and a recoding all taking simultaneously place on this very, very sacred grid with all those energies that I talked about. If you want to join us, if you're part of Temple Activate, it's free. I don't want you can't rejoin that. That's it. You're in there for the ride. But if you do want to join us, you can join us, join Temple Activate for that. Lots of love. Enjoy these energies. They really are wild. It's so exciting right now. It's an incredible time to be on this planet. Know that you are here on this planet for this ascension process. You wouldn't be here if not. Take care. Lots and lots of love to you. Bye.